Central Bank of Nigeria imposes 1 million naira fine each on bank branches for paying counterfeit money. Will that reduce the amount of fake naira notes from deposit money banks? Well, we'll be beaming our searchlight on this development. Bad debts. Nigeria plans tougher bank capital rules. As Nigeria posts biggest oil production rise in OPEC, as the organization pegs output for Nigeria at 1.6 million barrels per day. Welcome to Business Express. I am Muplang Dakok, and this episode will look at the global meetings of policy makers and private sector in Davos. That is the World Economic Forum, and what the stakes and prospects are for Nigeria. That will be after this timeout. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has imposed a penal fee of 1 million naira on each branch of Deposit Money Banks, DMB, for non-compliance with its banknote fitness guidelines and clean note policy documents for the industry. The regulator disclosed this in a circular to all DMBs on penalty for payment of counterfeit monies from ATMs and teller points. The Apex Bank said that the enforcement of the sanction would take effect after the launch of the two policy documents at a date which would be communicated to all stakeholders. The CBN has a statutory obligation to provide adequate supply of clean banknotes to facilitate seamless payment and settlement of transactions by the public, government, and banks. Around 3,000 participants from business, government, civil society, arts, culture, and media are gathered in the Swiss mountain town of Davos for 5 days of sessions on some of the most pressing global challenges. So, what have they been talking about? Leah Katung Babatunde has this report.
Every year, leaders from around the world meet in Davos at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting to discuss the most pressing issue facing society. It is interesting to see how trends like geopolitics, globalization, climate change, and gender equality are driving the most conversations.
Skills, well, it is on their own, they are important, but they become more important and more productive and useful if you bring them together and wrap them into something that has been planned for, and that means the aligning of these things we have said into something that gives a product, gives results towards, or solutions towards what you intended to do.
This is a challenge, a global challenge, I would say, and possibly more in Africa. This whole challenge just got a very good shot in the arm with a report that has just been released by the International Labour Organization.
At this year's WEF, the Nigerian government is being represented by Okechukwu Enelama, Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment, and Udoma Udoma, Minister for Budget and National Planning. The Nigerian delegation has been part of meetings geared towards enhancing Nigeria's trade flows, investment attraction, economic diversification, and job creation. The theme for this year's World Economic Forum is Globalization 4.0, how policymakers, industry, and civil society will engage in dialogue to address the challenges that confront the global economy. Themes around gender equality and diversity increase in volume as leaders and participants made a call for diversity and more visible role models. The topic of climate change, renewables, and sustainability has remained one of the top trends over the first 2 days of WEF. The curtains are dropping over the stage of the World Economic Forum in Davos, and expectations are high over what is at stake for Nigeria. This edition of Business Express will be looking at the likely outcomes for the benefit of the country.
Thank you, Leah. Now, Dr. Anthony Chibo Christopher joins us to discuss prospects and stakes for Nigeria at the 2019 edition of the World Economic Forum in Davos. He is a business and development strategist. Thank you very much for joining us on Business
Thank you.
Express.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So the World Economic Forum 2019 is rounding off today.
Yeah.
So many issues discussed: globalization, climate change,
yeah.
Trade, and a host of others.
Right.
What's in it for Nigeria?
Yeah, what's in it for Nigeria should come from the point of view that Nigeria should use this opportunity with the talk that is being done in Davos to revision itself, reposition itself as an industrialized nation, or reposition itself as a country moving towards industrialization. Because, face it, without going around the point, the rich countries are the industrialized nations, and the poor countries are those that trade in raw materials. So if you want to move from poor to rich, good, bad economy, or not so bad economy to good economy, then you should be moving towards industrialization. Mark you, the whole theme is globalization 4.0 vis-a-vis the fourth industrial, mark the word, industrial revolution. Okay. And so what's in it is Nigeria should start now to reposition itself towards industrializing. Do it in two ways, in my opinion. One, emphasize and put a lot of your resources towards manufacturing. Manufacture what you need, manufacture what you want. The process of manufacturing industrializes you. While you're doing that, put a lot of your resources as well on the biggest asset we have in Nigeria, which is human what? Capital. Put your resources in them with the mind of aligning them for globalization in the fourth industrial revolution. So, train them, acclimatize them to quantum computing.
So are you saying that we've not started globalization yet, or industrialization rather? Yeah.
That is what in effect, sadly, that is what I am saying. And I am saying, but the fourth industrial revolution offers us an opportunity to key in to what is the fourth industrial revolution. It's the upsurge of mind-breaking and ground-breaking technologies such as 5G, the Internet of Things, quantum computing, artificial intelligence. And I am saying now, let us key our youth, our human resource, everybody towards that, so that we can position ourselves as an industrialized nation, and therefore be winners with an advantage in this globalization 4.0. Why was there need for globalization 4.0?
Okay. So Africa went to the World Economic Forum to,
yes.
Push forward African entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So do you think this has been achieved? Was this achieved at the forum?
I would say, if there's anything to be achieved now, African entrepreneurs with the capital, should invest in African entrepreneurs with the mind of getting them built capacity for the fourth industrial revolution. Now, if that was the aim, then good. And if that wasn't the aim, then that should be the aim.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think that there's any effects for the local economy by the entrepreneurs by the time they come back? Do you think that there's going to be any effect on Nigeria's economy?
If we come back with this re-envisioning I'm talking about,
yes.
Why? It's already happening. What I'm talking about is not theoretical. There is a company called Andela. They're from the US. It's an investment conglomerate. And what they do right here, starting from Lagos, Nigeria, they are investing and training Nigerian, Kenyan, Ugandan youth as developers. And these youths are employed, while domiciled here in Nigeria, they're employed by American companies, giving the American companies services in IT as developers, as program developers. Now, think about this. An American company has come and is developing our own youth so that our own youth can serve what? An American company. Now, if the vision now can, if Nigeria can take this vision and make it their own, scale it up, as I was saying, develop the youth in AI, develop the youth as programmers, make sure they have a good deal so that they can get hard currency, then they're in a good position for globalization. We won't be consumers, we will be providers of services.
All right, let's talk about trade.
Okay.
Yeah, so South Africa pushed for Africans to trade with Africans at the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
So do you think there's need for Africa to trade with Africa?
Yeah, extremely. That's good. That's it's a good thing. It's important. Intra-Africa trade, that's what the word is. And intra-Africa trade is very, very important. It affords Africa to keep its raw materials, add value to its own raw materials, and sell within a ready market, which is what? Africa. Africa is a ready market for the whole world. It should also be a ready market for Africa. Now, this inter-Africa trade is extremely important because it will mark the first time since after colonialism that we can actually emancipate ourselves.
You make it sound so easy. Is it so
Not easy at all.
Okay.
It is not easy at all. If I made it sound like that, I'm very sorry. But it is essential. Okay. Very, very essential. It will mark immediately off the bat 15% increase in trade for all African nations. But you know what? You must position yourself for this intra-Africa trade. I'm now talking of Nigeria. Yeah. Why is South Africa pushing? Because they are ready. They're the most industrialized nation in Africa, so they have the products that they want to sell to the rest of Africa. Do we? Not really. So we should, well, tell me, we don't really manufacture that much. We're a consuming nation. We will become. I am very hopeful. I think the fact that we're discussing this shows that there's awareness that something should go forward. But we should move towards industrialization. So,
but Nigeria has the numbers.
Good. That's the human capital. Yes, definitely. Because you have, I would say, millions of bright young Nigerians ready to be trained and to be entrepreneurs in all the technologies that the fourth industrial revolution affords us to. So, and I'm saying that it's not really a theoretical idea. It's happening already. I gave you the example for your audience. Google and Della. Nigerians are in Lagos, living in Lagos, but providing internet and software solutions for American companies. And from here, it was expanded to Uganda and Kenya. So I am saying, take the initiative. Let's make it ours. Let it be a government partnership with what? Capitalized entrepreneurs, and let them invest in the youth.
Okay. Let's talk about gender issues. Yeah, gender issues still have always been in economic discourse.
Yes.
So how is Nigeria performing?
Okay, Nigeria is performing as well as its culture allows it to perform. Okay. I think we can do better. We still have more more girls out of school than boys. We still have a disparity in property rights, inheritance between boys, or should I say men, and women. And this is a disadvantage because most of our farmers, believe it or not, effective farmers are women. Now think of having educated farming women. That already puts us at an advantage because of our numbers to actually move from what we call raw materials farming to adding value to industrialized farming, which is where the money is, which is where the jobs are, and which is where it brings down the inflation and all the things we like in a good economy. It starts from not even the industrialization, but the vision and the push, because even the push towards industrialization brings about the benefits. It brings about confidence in the future of the economy. And when people are confident in your future, you start getting partners. Everybody wants to partner. Banks want to partner with you. AFD want, because they're confident. So the first thing is to push towards industrialization with political will.
All right.
And we're there.
So let's talk about the World Economic Forum again.
Okay.
Do you think Nigeria is paying enough attention to the forum?
To my expectation, we were not as visible. I know that the CEO of the Security and Exchange Commission, I heard what he said. I liked it. Pretty much in line with what I am saying, which is, he said, if I quote him, he said his organization is taking the leadership role in taking advantage of the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution available and making sure, or trying to develop that in making our country, Nigeria, attractive for investors.
So what about other African nations? Are they paying interest to the World Economic Forum?
Ethiopia was nominated to host the next World Economic Forum.
Yes.
That tells you that, can you imagine if it was Nigeria? The attention on Ethiopia alone is going to be good. So other African countries are keen in, and they're doing okay. We are very interested in what Nigeria is going to do, and I'm optimistic.
Your closing thoughts on the forum and what you expect from Nigeria and from Africa?
My closing thoughts are, the world is trying to reshape and rethink globalization to reduce inequality. We should key into this by positioning ourselves as a nation that is there to offer goods and services to ourselves and the rest of Africa and in the world as well.
All right. Thank you very much. We've been speaking with Dr. Anthony Chibo Christopher, a business and development strategist. Thank you very much for joining us on Business Express today.
Thank you so much.
All right. The sum of 649.198 billion naira has been shared amongst the 3 tiers of government as distributable statutory revenue for the month of December 2018 in January 2019. The Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, who disclosed the figure at the end of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, in Abuja, said the amount is made up of statutory revenue, exchange gain, and value-added tax.
With the position, even though there is slight fall in the figures, but it was peaceful and it was conducted in a very understanding atmosphere.
547.462 billion naira received from the month is lower than the 649.6 billion naira received in the month by 102.1 billion naira. Balance of the excess crude account stands at $631 million. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, has charged the new board of directors of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, to recover the huge debt portfolio of bailed-out banks. Musa Abubakar reports that the minister also warned that failure to recover the debt may result in serious consequences for the economy. Hence, all efforts must be directed to support the board to successfully carry out its mandate.
Are resorting to all manners of tactics to avoid honoring their obligations. While some of them are still enjoying government patronage, others are using the judiciary and adopting legal technicalities to stall recovery. It must be emphasized that government should not deal with debtors that have failed to honor their obligations with AMCON. Therefore, payments due to some of these obligors will be put under lien until they enter into a resolution agreement with AMCON.
We believe with the caliber and quality of the people that, as rightly said earlier, in the common finance we call them men of timber and caliber, that we have on the board, men from different space, with a lot of experiences with here and a lot of competencies. I know that certainly we will continue to have a report discussion and be able to achieve the mandate, particularly the charted thrown just 3 minutes ago in your speech, that of course we must make sure that we have this very speedy and efficient recovery system or mechanism in place.
The Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akwabweze, has said that the presentation format of both the appropriation bill and budget details for 2019 are consistent with previous years. Akwabweze, in a statement, said that although the Budget Office is yet to receive any formal communication from the National Assembly on the observations that have enjoyed wide coverage in the media, they have written a letter to the House Appropriations Committee Chairman. He further stated that the officials of the Budget Office of the Federation met Thursday with the Secretariat of the House Appropriations Committee, and the outcome of the review is that there are no errors for discrepancies as alleged by an honorable member. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has urged state governments to take advantage of the enormous opportunities available in the capital market to revitalize moribund companies in their state in a bid to create wealth for the citizens. The SEC, during a campaign in Akure, Ondo State, said some of the affected companies still have potentials, adding that the capital has instruments to revamp such companies through private equity funding and partnerships. The Acting Director General, Mary Uduk, urged investors to take advantage of the ongoing e-dividend registration as well as regularization of multiple subscription accounts in a bid to reduce the unclaimed dividends profile and increase liquidity in the capital market and the economy. The Nigerian Stock Exchange closed Friday, 25th January 2019 on a positive note. The all-share index appreciated by 1.41% to close the week at 31,426.63 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 3.144 trillion naira. Despite trade tensions and a long-running shutdown of government in the U.S., major stock markets are enjoying rallies buoyed by impressive commodity figures, especially gold and oil. Amina Nujem is our guide.
The equities market across the globe reveals that in the African continent, investor confidence was mostly high as most markets posted positive numbers. South Africa's JSE Top 40 was up 0.92%. Kenya's Nairobi All-Share Index 145.30 points, appreciating by 0.04%. Namibia Overall Index gained 0.08%. to stand at 1,338.86 points. This was followed by Ghana's JSE Composite, which was up 0.42%. In the United States, stocks were mostly higher as investors weighed solid earnings against slowing global growth. Dow Jones was down 0.09%, Nasdaq was up 0.68%, as well as the S&P 0.14%. In Europe, positive sentiment dominated as the FTSE gained 0.41%, DAX 0.41%, and Frank's CAC 40 was also up 0.88%.
Let's now see how the Naira is trading alongside other major currencies. That brings us to the end of this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so don't forget to reach us via email businessexpress@nta.gov.ng. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News Now. The hashtag is BX, showing on your screen. Enjoy the weekend. I am Muplang Takok.